Zhang Mingyang versus Anthony Smith. This is Anthony Smith's retirement fight. Been doing it for a long time. Uh, this was his third loss in a row. He won that fight against Vitor Petrino. I feel like that probably he should have just retired at that point. But then he's like, let's do another one. He loses to Delize. Let's do another one. He gets finished by Dominic Reyes. Let's do another one. Now it's my last time, and this is it. And you know, Anthony Smith's been in some dogfights. He's been in some dogfights, and as Genevieve says, "Wow, what a way to go out! What a fight to go out on." Zhang Mingyang has been killing everybody he's faced for the past year or so. He hasn't left the first round. He's just been knocking everybody out. I think this is his third first round knockout in the UFC since he's joined. Anthony Smith came out looking like the older fighter, movement wise. That being said, he was doing some tricky things here where they'd mummy guard, they'd frame on each other, and then he'd bam, toss an elbow over. But he'd just stand there, and you're like, oh man, he's so slow. And then bam, he comes in with this big right hand or a big elbow, and you're like, oh shit, that's actually pretty good. But what happened was Zhang Mingyang was like, oh yeah, elbows off wrist control. That works really well. And then he's like, I could do that too. And then he just went to town with elbows. He split open Anthony Smith with a big elbow. And then from there, it was kind of just a beat down from Zhang Mingyang. He splits him open. He's bleeding. And at this point, Anthony Smith's just taking damage. Do you like the name Turtle Heart? Says Ghost. Man, he always ends up in this position right here, doesn't he? Where he's getting beat up and he's like, I need to shoot. And he's shooting in kind of weird times. And then there's like zero drive and he ends up in this position. It's happened a number of times. Probably worse in the Glover Teixeira fight. And man, Zhang Mingyang just tees off on him with some elbows. Again, some of them back of the head, a little nasty there. But what are you gonna do when a guy's just like turtling right there? But yeah, there was a few elbows to the back of the head that were pretty brutal. They call the fight. Anthony Smith just sits up, covered in blood, and you're like, damn, that's a retirement fight. That's what the UFC does, man. They give you some young killer, some young hungry killer on your way out. They always do it. And then my favorite part of the whole thing happened after the fight. They're sitting there. Zhang Mingyang gets the win, right? They're sitting there, and all of a sudden the camera goes to Anthony Smith, and he's pointing in the crowd, and he just flips someone off, and he goes back to pointing. He flips him off again, and you're like, "What the hell is going on?" Then he gets up and he starts yelling, and he goes over to the fence. And you're like, "Is he yelling at Zhang Mingyang's corner? What's happening?" And Zhang Mingyang's getting involved. He's like grabbing him, and you're like, "Oh no, Zhang Mingyang, chill." And then it turns out, no, he's pointing at somebody else in the crowd, and the camera cuts to this dude putting his hands up. Holy shit, I was cracking up watching this. And then someone posts like, "Oh no, it wasn't this guy." And I wasn't gonna include this because I was like, this poor dude's getting fucking roasted online because it cuts to him and he's like, "Hey man." But then Anthony Smith talked about it and he said, yeah, it was a guy was talking shit during the walkout. And then after the fight, they were flipping him off and stuff. And he looked over and it was this dude. I don't know if it was this dude, but he said it's a guy in a Nebraska shirt, and this guy's got a big N on the shirt. So I'm assuming it was this guy now. Fucking hilarious though that the UFC crew is like, wait, let's switch so people know what's happening. Normally they would like cut away to something else and not show that, but instead they're like, let's fucking get this guy. Don't you ruin this moment, this retirement. And then yeah, and then in the post fight, they bring the whole family. God damn, it's a big family, huh? And first off, man, don't bring your family to a fight like this. If you're Anthony Smith, you got to know this might be an option. But maybe this makes it worth it. He's been beaten down before, so he's like, whatever. They've seen it before. They need to be here for this moment. And the UFC did a very good retirement package for him. And I'm trying to stay positive about it, but as Vance says, Smith gets a glorious send off with videos, but Steve gets a here's your coat and hat, get out. LOL, just not right. Yeah, it sucks, man. It's crazy. I was talking to shout out Blunderbub Joe last night about it, and it's like he's like, I can't believe this is the same organization where they do something like this, which I thought was very well done. It was very cool to see someone who's been in a lot of fights, been in title fights, has really worn his heart on his sleeve about a lot of things as a fighter. To get a good send off like this, I think most fighters do deserve something like this, regardless if you think they were good or what they've achieved. Someone like Anthony, I think, deserves this package. It is very weird to see someone like Anthony get this package when we've had guys like Stipe retire with literally nothing. The greatest UFC heavyweight of all time gets nothing on his way out. And then you got guys retiring in the apex and not even getting a shot of them putting their glove like to 20 people. Like, it's just so weird that this is the same organization. It's crazy. That being said, I'm happy Anthony got it. He deserved it. Very cool to see his family get to watch that. He's crying. It's a cool moment. I like when the UFC does this. I wish they did it more consistently. They did it with Robbie Lawler. They did it with Karate Hottie, Michelle Watterson, which was weird. Didn't expect that. But cool to see. But and Zhang Mingyang, we should really be talking about him. He's dangerous. He's a dangerous guy. And at this weight class, we can take it as many dangerous guys as we can get. He called out Yusri Prohaska. I don't think they make that fight, but it'd be fun. It'd be a fun fight.
Hey everybody, Romero and Will here. Thank you for watching that short clip. Just so you know, that was a small excerpt from what we covered this last Sunday, right, Will?
Yeah, we cover the entire event every weekend. So this was just a cutout from the live stream that we did. The link to that live stream is in the description. So if you want to hear about the other fights that night, it's down below in the description. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because we go live every Sunday to cover events. And if you do that, you'll know for next week, and you can tune in and be in the chat and get featured on the show just like everybody else was on this clip.
We hope to chat with you live.